I don't know why or how you are doing this. If you are doing this, but I need you to help me, Sam. I need to know what is going on.
In space, no one can hear you perform a software upgrade. Observation, developed by No Code, is one of those games that makes you say, oh, of course it was published by Devolver Digital. This unique story-driven puzzle game has all the right amount of quirk and uniqueness of character the Devolver team always seems to gravitate towards. And I haven't yet to play a game from the publisher that I wasn't either happy with or endlessly fascinated by. Observation is special because it comfortably fits inside both those areas because it scratches an itch I've had for over a year, the need to become a space custodian. Games like Red Matter, Downward Spiral, and The Station have made me hungry for first-person video games that have me performing maintenance and repair duties on space vessels. Pushing buttons, fixing reactors, and interfacing with computer terminals is more fun than I ever expected, and now my appetite for them is insatiable. Now I can add Observation to my list of favorite space janitor experiences. As an adventure game, it is the player's job to assist the crew of a low-orbit science vessel, the Observation, as they conduct their mission. The twist is that the player is not one of the astronauts, but Sam, an artificial intelligence.
The Observation is a joint, low-orbit space station created out of a partnership between the United States, China, and Russia in the year 2026. Instead of glorifying this cooperative project, the game immediately opens after an unknown disaster. As SAM systems come online, most of the crew has disappeared save for Emma Fisher, who becomes your primary human contact for the duration of the adventure. After you assist Emma bringing the station back to some degree of operational normal, things take a turn for the worse. Instead of maintaining an orbit around planet Earth, the Observation finds itself hovering miles above Saturn's pole, the famous hexagonal-shaped storm raging in plain view. Sam's screen goes fuzzy, strange alien symbols appear in view, and the words, "Bring her," hang ominously in view. Besides being an homage to films like 2001: A Space Odyssey, Interstellar, and Gravity, Observation is designed similarly after old-school point-and-click adventure games, but has just enough unconventional gameplay mechanics to feel like something totally new. As a computer AI, your movement throughout the station is limited to its array of internal cameras. As long as these cameras are accessible, you're given free rein through the Observation as the modules come online in various rooms, laboratories, and maintenance areas that make up the station. Almost all rooms are equipped with multiple cameras to give you a full view of the space by zooming in and out to scan documents, pair laptops, and other meaningful electronics to your network, as well as operate computer interfaces. Sam's interaction with Emma and the Observation are handled through computer terminals. When Sam and Emma reach the station's main hub, you're tasked with addressing various system alerts that require the AI to communicate with Emma, which is done by clicking on buttons and computer readouts. Should the station require it, Sam can even activate remote drones to fit himself through small spaces or activate certain panels when Emma is unable to. There's an eerie, unsettling feeling that permeates throughout the entire adventure. Not only do you feel for Emma, who is forced to endure this test of survival by herself, but also the strange sights and sounds Sam experiences as he assists her work. Sam itself doesn't help ease the growing tension as his cold, unaffected voice makes him sound like the HAL 9000 computer, and while you just can't kill the crew at whenever you want, there's just something low-key terrifying about his low computerized voice.
The code is Precursor 1. It appears to be a mission code.
Precursor 1? But that's not a mission code, Sam. What the hell is Precursor 1?
The unnerving terror of exploring a nearly abandoned station as Sam's interface glitches in and out, and coming face to face with a mysterious polygonal intelligence really livens things up. Observation is at its best when you're trucking along, completing mission objectives, and hacking terminals until you reach the inevitable brick wall you typically find in adventure games. Observation's puzzle logic isn't as zany and nonsensical as the LucasArts adventure game, but it sometimes suffers from a lack of clarity in direction and intention. Also, there's a tediousness that comes from having to zoom and pan cameras around to find objects as if this were an I Spy photo hunt game. I often found that mission-critical objects in computer systems were difficult to spot or interact with because it's not easy to see what you're supposed to be looking for. You can ask Emma to repeat her last command, which just replays the last line before the puzzle starts, and sometimes it's just not enough. The negative result of the confusion is the story slamming to a halt as you blindly move from one camera to another, trying to find a clue that's as small as a post-it note. You really have to pay attention to Emma's dialogue, which can sometimes be hard to follow because her British accent gets covered up by the ambient soundtrack, along with fiddling around with computer systems that are a far cry from the supercomputers typically found in science fiction stories. I do love the hard sci-fi trappings that ground the game to a familiar reality. The observation is at the Apple Store. It's clunky, true to life, and you can really tell that Emma is forced to science the shit out of her situation. Observation is a fascinating narrative puzzle game that's really great when things are going your way. It can be frustrating to hit the puzzle roadblocks or find yourself unsure of where to go. Thankfully, you can take it all at your own pace. There are no ticking clocks to make your anxiety trigger, nor are there any, oops, you messed up on this puzzle, now the station is gonna blow, moments, which I was really thankful for. The game's pacing is measured and about as action-packed as the scenes aboard the Discovery 1 in 2001, but it's also easily undone if you miss a visual or verbal cue. I'm a huge fan of the game's visual aesthetic, especially since Earth's 2026 space technology looks pretty believable. I shouldn't be surprised that I love the look of the game so much because No Code was also responsible for Stories Untold, a horror anthology that also had a really great visual style. Even though you're looking through a subtle fisheye camera lens, the station looks true to life and lived in. The sound designers also deserve accolades for creating an awesome and believable ambient soundtrack. This station sounds like a space station would.
What would you like me to do?
Look at your station alerts, Sam. Find out what is wrong and do your best to fix it whilst I get this tracker back online.
Cameras in EAS 12 have failed to initialize.
We would have lost the connection when we jettisoned the module. Nothing we can do about it now.
The cameras in EAS 10 are failing to initialize.
Alright, I'll get that fixed for you now.
Observation has some hiccups, but they weren't enough to prevent me from enjoying it and feeling truly engrossed in a science fiction story that could easily have come from the mind of Arthur C Clarke.